today. Not long ago, I wrote an article called "Successful Law Firms Are All Alike." In this Part 1 segment, I'd like to talk about 5 of 10 characteristics that I've seen in my coaching career that all successful law firms have. It's sort of like the Dave Letterman's Top 10. Tolstoy began his novel Anna Karenina with the assertion that happy families are all alike. Every unhappy family is unhappy in its own way. So what is it about happy law firms, successful law firms, that are all alike? Well, the first idea that resonates with me is that they all have business plans. All successful law firms have some format of a business plan that sets forth their goals, how they're going to reach their goals, which is a marketing component, and then the financial element connected with that. The second element that all successful law firms have is that they have an overriding mantra, and the mantra is that the client comes first. I put it in a slightly different context. I would suggest to you that without clients, there's no reason for us to be. Without clients, you don't have revenue. Without clients, you don't have the intellectual challenge that most lawyers enjoy about the practice of law. Without clients, there is no reason to have a law firm. And so we must put the client first. Not that, as said in other contexts, the client's always right. That's not what I mean. But we have to provide a service to clients that they understand, they appreciate, and that is valuable to them. The third is, we are here not to sell hours. We are here to sell solutions. Unless we can provide the solution to our client for the challenge that they are facing, we have not performed our task. Now, we may express that in billable hours. We may express that in value billing or alternative billing. That's a whole different subject. The first and primary concept here, unrelated to how we bill, is we have to sell solutions to our clients. The fourth is the successful law firm begins every engagement with an engagement letter, a written agreement that outlines the scope and responsibility of each party, including the client's responsibility to pay. Our problem comes when the client fails to understand that the client has some responsibilities and obligations in this arena as well. One of the things that I suggest is that you talk to them about the fee. What will be the fee? If it's an hourly fee, okay, it's so much an hour. And by the way, do you have an idea of what that total representation will cost the client? If not, perhaps you ought to think about that, because the client, one of the things the client really needs to know before they walk out of the door is the approximate range of what your fee will be. What's the cost going to be to the client of this particular engagement? But the other thing that I would suggest is that in the margin, next to the paragraph where you're talking about your fee, you put an initial stamp, sort of like the banks do when they lend money, and have the client read that paragraph specifically and then initial it. The fifth element here that I've found with most successful law firms is that they've created a budget for this particular engagement, whether it be for $500,000 or $20,000 or some other number. When the client walks out the door, maybe not in that first intake session, but clearly soon after being engaged, the client will know what kinds of things are going to be done, what activities you're going to do, what you anticipate happening in this matter, and how much that's going to cost the client. And by the way, as I suggested with the engagement language in the retainer agreement, I would recommend that you have the client sign off on this budget. These are 5 key elements of success for those law firms that I have seen, that I have coached, that I've consulted with for their success in thriving even in this tough economy. In our next session, we'll talk about the second 5 on this list. Thanks for joining us today.